Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for a status update on the 280Z. So some of you know this car. It's LS3. It's got the big brakes and those ugly spacers. We'll talk about those ugly spacers in a minute. It's got some suspension stuff going on, as you can see in there. We got big brakes on the back, a full custom exhaust system, upgraded tank, and the list goes on. So, what we have here is a naturally aspirated LS3 engine that has a stage 2 camshaft, the titanium double valve springs, chromoly push rods, those trunnion brass rocker arm upgrades so the rocker arm bearings don't break off in there. ARP head studs, ARP rod bolts, and there's probably a few other things that we're missing. 1 7/8 headers that go to I think a 4-inch exhaust, a fuel regulator, 58 PSI, running E85 with 80-pound injectors, 102 millimeter throttle body, and right now it's got a Phytech. I think it's a short rise intake. Yeah, that's about it there. We've got like a Willwood master cylinder. We got a Willwood slave cylinder in here with the Chase Bays billet reservoir. So what you see here is basically everything a guy needs for a car that weighs 2,800 pounds. But wait, there's more. And there it is. And I'm excited for this. So this is a F1C ProCharger. We bought it from a guy on Facebook for I think $3,000. It only comes with what you see here, just the ProCharger itself and the bracketry that you need in order to put it on the engine. Didn't come with any bolts or anything at all. It's just like a bare ProCharger and the brackets. So quite a bit of work is going on. You know, these ProCharger kits, they come for specific cars. So let's say you buy a Corvette kit, because that ProCharger is for a 2008-ish Corvette C6 Z06. That's what that ProCharger is for. And it's like a $10,000 kit. But in that kit comes with a ton of stuff that I don't need. You know, we don't need a tuner. We don't need the 65-pound injectors that come with the kit. We don't need a lot of things that come with the kit. So I figured the best thing we could do was just buy the ProCharger used and piece it together ourselves and make our own kit, because this is, in my opinion, about 90% of what somebody needs to supercharge a vehicle. This right here is going to bolt onto the head. It's a reverse rotation supercharger. It's going to sit about right here. And we just have to figure out a couple of things from there. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to have to swap out the water pump yet or not, but I do know for sure that we're going to have to get a different harmonic balancer. I think we're going to get an ATI super damper that has the 8-rib pulley. We also have to drill a hole or two in the crankshaft. That way the harmonic balancer does not slip on the crankshaft with all the added force coming from spinning up the supercharger. So that'll be interesting to drill holes into the crank and pin it. Other than that, it's just a matter of making sure that there's enough room for that thing to bolt in. Finding a custom length belt. Also, while we're at it, we're going to get a different mount for the alternator to bring the alternator somewhere up in this region. I think the ICT billet is going to make well, they already make it. It's like I don't know if it's for a truck or for what it's for, but it puts the alternator right about here. And that's what I think we're going to do, because as you can see right now, it is touching the chassis a little bit. We're trying to make this thing as nice and smooth as possible. And an alternator touching metal is never a good idea. So that will take care of that. In addition to adding the supercharger with forced induction, we all know that forced induction generates a lot of heat. So we're going to put this radiator in there. This one is a decent bit thicker than the radiator that is currently in it. And if you notice, the radiator that's in it, the fans are actually on the front instead of the back. We did that to make room at the time for this, because we put this together in a hurry whenever we put the engine in. So we're going to do away with this radiator. The fans and the shroud will be on the back, which will allow for a much better cooling. So once we have the ProCharger and everything bolted up, the brackets on, the belts on, everything like that, then we've got to figure out the piping situation. There's going to be piping probably all over the place up here, and we'll just have to go from there. We don't have an intercooler either, so we are going to want to either get some type of air-to-air or air-to-water intercooler. I don't think it'll be much of a big deal. We've got a lot of room in there. This should be a pretty simple and straightforward ordeal. And then the only downfall will be, or job to do, will be tuning it. Right now this car runs on a Phytec engine management system, which is not very great for tuning. They have software that allows you to tune with a laptop, but it does not work. It's so glitchy that it doesn't work. If you use the handheld that comes with the Phytec, it's great. There's the little handheld right there. It's great with the handheld, but whenever you plug a laptop into it, it is no bueno. So I noticed also we got the wheels off. So why do you have the wheels off? I'll tell you why. I'll show you why, actually. So as you can see, we have some pretty hefty spacers on here, and that it was to make the wheels look right with the wide body kit that is on the car. It's not ideal, but it's a temporary solution. Whenever we drive this car at 60 or more miles per hour, it feels like you've got a shimmy, a shake in the steering wheel. It's terrible. And everything else is new. You know, the steering rack is new, control arms are new, wheel bearings are new, brakes are new. Tires and wheels are basically new. That's not the issue. The issue is this. This is a dial indicator, and it right now, as you can see, if you can see, I hope you can see, it is on 0. And if we take this wheel or this hub or whatever you want to call it and rotate it, you can see that we have a massive amount of run out, like vertically, almost as if you're like rolling an egg. That's kind of what's happening at 60 miles an hour. It's not super dramatic on the steering wheel, but it is enough that we don't want to be having problems like that going 70 miles per hour or more in a car that we're about to add a significant amount of horsepower to. That's totally unsafe. So right now what we're doing is having custom hub-centric rings made by a machine shop here in town, and we'll see how good that works. But the overall solution, the permanent solution, is to get custom wheels made with custom offsets. And go from there. That should nip that in the bud and take care of that completely. On the front, with the custom wheels, it'll be fine because we have hubs here that will allow for the wheel to be centered, kind of like a hub-centric ring does. But in the back, there is no hub So there is nothing for the wheel to, you know, center on, except for that tiny little hole there. So in the back, we're just gonna have to rely on the lug nuts to center it, which I guess will be okay. If you have an opinion on that or know anything about that or have any ideas, leave a comment below, because it would help us out. We've been trying to chase this issue down for a minute, a lot longer than I would like to say. We're busy working on other people's cars most of the time, so when it comes to this one, it always gets put on the back burner. So that's the few main things that we're dealing with right now on this car. The first thing being with the wheels, the steering wheel vibration above 60. The ProCharging, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be so great when this thing is on this car working. The ProCharging and making the car run cooler for the ProCharger. After that, this thing's going to be magnificent. We've got some safety stuff in there. Not really a lot of safety stuff, but it's got a harness bar and some good seats with some good seat belts. The car wasn't really built to be a race car, but maybe it'll make its way there one day. We'll see. I don't really know. If you're still here, I definitely appreciate it. Just want to point out one thing. We have over 26,000 subscribers, and nobody's posting any comments on our videos. If you've got anything to say, or you got any thoughts on this car, this video, anything you see, please leave a comment. Talk to me about it. If you got any suggestions, I'm all ears. I am all ears for somebody else's thoughts, because I'm only one person and I can only come up with so many thoughts. There's probably a million ideas that somebody could pop off here. And don't forget to hit that like button, because it doesn't cost you a dime and it helps me make a dime to pay for this thing. Thanks for watching and have a great day.